we'll do something a little less controversial and go with video game movies, because just last night I saw the recent Need for Speed movie. And I understood that it got really bad reviews, and I can kind of see why, but it was nowhere near as bad as I was expecting it to be. And it's gotten me to thinking, especially because I know people are comparing it to something like Fast and Furious, so the whole action thing probably feels less action-y, because 9 times out of 10, the cars you're watching are real cars doing real stunts. And these are really expensive cars doing these stunts, too, and that makes it all the more impressive to me than any CGI action sequence that you can throw at it. So, yes, there's issues with the movie. Yes, I can see where some of the people are coming from with their comments about it, but it got me to thinking about the whole video game movie problem again. Now, Need for Speed is a game series that's not really had much of a story, per se. I know in the later games they've started incorporating that a whole heck of a lot more than the original, but it's also... Uh-oh. Say something, Mike.
Something, Mike?
There you go. Your mic just picks up that fan louder. No.
Oh.
It's doing that thing again. It's searching for you. It's like an AI unit, but I hardly have any notes here. It was a last-minute topic. So, when it comes to video game movies, in you guys' opinion, is it a good idea to follow the story identically, or does that kind of ruin the game for people that's never played it? Or should it be new content and side story and all that type of stuff? Kind of like what they did with Resident Evil, where they made it their own universe.
You want to take this one first, Rover?
The Matrix, they actually, when they made their games, had alternate endings. I remember that clearly, that sometimes you could do things that did not happen in the movie at all, or go a completely different way, and that ended the game like that. Like, I know for a fact, or maybe I'm insane, maybe I dreamed it, but I swear in one of them, you could have Neo go back to Zion and protect Zion, and then the entire Zion would go after the city and destroy the Matrix.
I never played Path of Neo, so that might have been that one, or it may have been part of the plot line in the online game, but I don't think that's what you're talking about.
Did that ever even come out? I was under the impression that the online game was canned before it was released.
I think it released, but it did not live very long.
It was out for 3 years, and then they got rid of it because it just... It was actually really interesting. It added on to the Matrix storyline. It actually had a lot of interesting stuff. Of course, when I was playing, I was part of the Mwuahaha's army, so because I was just evil on there.
I have a bit of a different take than I think what most people have. I like the way Resident Evil did it. They made it based around the same kind of time frame, but not the same story. Mm-hmm. So the same stuff happened. I'm talking about the first Resident Evil, because we all know they messed it up after that.
And how?
But the first Resident Evil, they got it right. They got it very right. I mean, you could have easily played it alongside the games, and it would have just been a bonus story. Mm-hmm. Now, the way that, from what I'm understanding, I haven't been really keeping up that much with the World of Warcraft movie. I should just say the Warcraft movie, because that's what it is. It's not World of Warcraft, it's Warcraft. From what I'm understanding, they're going back to, I think, around the time of the First War, which is a good move.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because that story was never really told in an official format.
At least none that was very memorable.
Yeah, the only way you could get it was to read the big giant instruction manual, and most people involved with Warcraft right now probably did not play that game.
Oh.
So it's nice to go back and be able to see that kind of universe being set up with, Blizzard's current standards, rather than, oh, hey, here's a game. It's an RTS. There's not really a whole lot of story in it, but have fun, Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was hard to follow. Not so much with the second one. I'm kind of rambling, but Warcraft 2 actually did have the hero units, and it kind of did follow more of a cohesive story within the game than the first one did. There were still little bullet points and whatnot along the way for the first game, but that's really what they were. They were just kind of bullet points. Since you could play as both the orcs and the humans, you didn't really know how the story ended. Because, if you played as the humans and you made it through the game, then obviously the humans won. But if you played through the orcs and you made it through the game, which, as we find out in Warcraft 2 is what really happened, then they raised the city.
And I think it's a good move to Blizzard going all the way back, because it allows them to have a franchise.
Yes, it does. Yeah, I muted it for that. I was like, oh, this is going to be noisy. Let me mute it, but it was too late.
It was too late. But my opinion on the whole thing is I think it depends on the material they're taking it from. If it's a game that's not got a lot of story, or it has one that is so famous that doing a movie either you couldn't do it proper justice, or it just wouldn't work out right, then I think that you should probably do the kind of side story, new content sort of thing. But if it's a really solid story, even if it's a little bizarre, like say one of the earlier Metal Gear Solid games, you could probably turn those into a movie. It may be a little bizarre, maybe too bizarre if you followed it directly, but Or say something like, actually, that's a very good one. The Uncharted series. You could make a different story about Nathan Drake, or you could recreate one of the stories from the games, and either way, I could see it being successful.
Yes, I agree with you there. Especially on the odd story part. If the story is just kind of out there, it's famous, I wouldn't touch it.
And it would.
I'd like to see. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, if they did make a new story, it would be better if they could keep in canon instead of doing the Resident Evil route and going completely off to the left field when it started making its sequels, where it cannot possibly meet the video game universe anymore.
I think what a lot of movie companies fail in when they're doing a movie about a video game is that they try to make them all live action. Most of these games would be way better if they were, as a story, if they were animated. Stop trying to make live action. I would never want to see a live action Mega Man. I'm just going to put that out there right now. I think it would be novel, it'd be kind of cool maybe to see one time, but it probably wouldn't be very good because you just can't do that kind of story live action.
Most of it would end up being CG with just some human people on green screen.
Like Dr. Light and Wily obviously would be. You would be able to make those well-known characters pop a lot more in an animated form than you could in a live action.
And stylized too, instead of trying to make it all gritty and realistic, because there's a lot of stories that need to keep that gritty realism, but there's a lot of things like a Super Mario or a Mega Man or a lot of Final Fantasies where they would pay off better if you kept them kind of in a stylized, slightly lighthearted, even if it has serious tones in it.
Well, I think The Spirits Within was a decent enough movie. You said Final Fantasy. But it is animated.
Just didn't need the Final Fantasy moniker on it. That's what hurt it. As a movie, it was fine. It was not what we wanted. It's not what we expected. But even more realistic kind of... I didn't really care for Beowulf, but, if you do kind of a more adult, serious CGI movie, that would be okay too. Matter of fact, that's what a lot of people thought the Warcraft movie was going to be, because they do have that big, thick, muscular stylization that they have on those things. That it may feel weird watching them not be those great big hulking monstrosities.
Beowulf is such a horrible movie.
I wish that I could see a screen cap of an orc for the new Warcraft movie, but I don't think they posted one yet.
No. They've shown the actors in costume, but I've not seen any orcs yet. But, that's going to be after the filming, but I guess filming wrapped up in spring? I think they're done with that, so it is all just the CGI?
Yeah, they're done with the filming. It is just the CGI that's left. I don't know. I just don't... I am a little nervous for it because I don't see
them doing
how
it
they
right.
can... Well, I just don't see how they can take Warcraft, which is... Blizzard's known for their cinematics. Every time they have an expansion come out, the cinematic is revealed, and then everybody gets so excited for the expansion just because the cinematic, which, mind you, has absolutely nothing to do with actual gameplay, is amazing. Warcraft cinematics are amazing.
I hate to cut in, but I actually was kind of disappointed with the Warlords of Draenor cinematic. I saw that last week, and
I actually really liked it.
It was fine. It's gorgeous. I would love to see a whole movie at it, but it is the first time one of their cinematics was just kind of that was okay.
Well, I think it's because there wasn't a whole ton of action in it, or a different montage of all the races and whatnot, like there has been. It was basically, okay, you already know what happens in Siege of Orgrimmar, here's what's happening now going into the expansion, which I think is the first time they've really done that.
But anyway, I derailed your thoughts. Sorry about that.
I don't even know what I was talking about. I think I had actually finished my thought just before that.
Warcraft is going to be one of those movies that is going to be kind of a make or break for the whole transition from games to movies, because back, especially when Uwe Boll was buying up everything left and right to make his monstrosity, that is not the word I'm looking for. Abominations. There it is. That's the word.
There you go. That's a better word for that.
There was a whole bunch of fighting game. Well, that too. We had Tekken and King of Fighters and Legend of Chun-Li and all those other poor movies. By the way, I saw the Tekken 2 movie, and I know what you're thinking. Wait, Tekken 2?
I saw it on the shelf, and I was wondering if you had seen it. I meant to ask you.
I have, and it has about as much to do with video games as my big toe does with a keyboard. You've got 3 characters from the Tekken series, and one of them is more of a glorified... actually, 2 of them are more glorified cameos. They resolve nothing. The whole story does not fit anywhere into even the past movie's timeline, which they are trying to tie into the last movie. It was just a really cheaply done, get this out quick while we still have the rights to the movie. Even the intro screen, the title screen where it rolls in the Tekken, is from the original movie, and they photoshopped a 2 on top of it. That is how cheap we're talking.
That's pretty terrible.
But yeah,
stuff that we could do easily. we're gonna be really low budget this time.
I mean, some of the fight scenes were okay, and there's some decent actors in there for the most part. It's just, no. That is not how to make a movie, let alone a sequel to a franchise movie. Yeah, where am I going with this? I don't know. You derailed everything again. I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, yeah, Warcraft. How its series, and it's going to be, they're going to try to do basically the next Lord of the Rings, because we don't really have that right now. I mean, The Hobbit's done after this year.
Yeah.
Harry Potter's done. So all we have is stuff like the Hunger Games, and I wouldn't really consider that the big fantasy adventure franchise to beat right now.
I think that if
doing
you're going
all right, but
I like the Hunger Games.
I thought the Hunger Games was good. I wouldn't call it like a fantasy.
They're trying really hard to keep them to the same as the books. It's just like with the final Harry Potter. The final Harry Potter book was just so retardedly massive and so story content wise that they had to strip it. They had no choice. Otherwise, it'd have been 10 movies long.
Oh, it's the way
it
all
needed
of the
to
books
be.
been.
I remember being upset that they never put Peeves in the movie.
They never put Peeves, and I got really pissed about Dumbledore's backstory not being there. Like, they added a smidget at the end, because they needed to, because the painting was there, and it's the way to get to Hogwarts.
I don't remember the Harry Potter movies that well. I really don't. They don't stick with me.
The earlier ones did more than the later ones. I don't know why that is. Maybe because I've seen them more.
My memory of all of them, of remembering stuff's too good, so I have the movie versions of the story, then I have the book versions, so I can sit there and compare them in my head like that.
Well,
Warcraft will either be fantastic or it'll be like Final Fantasy Spirits Within.
I think it's going to be good.
It needs to be that make or break, because everybody's going to be watching it to see how successful it is. Of course, Prince of Persia did really well for itself. I'm kind of surprised they did not pull off a sequel, because Disney is really known to be sequel happy.
There's no way that you will ever convince me that Warcraft will not do well in a theater.
Simply by its subscription base alone, yeah.
Exactly. If at least half of the subscribers go to see that movie, it will do amazing.
Mm-hmm. And if it's a really good movie on top of that, we're talking potential Avatar beater here.
Yeah, it's just, and they've already said, they kind of put Chris Metzen on the spot during BlizzCon. I know that this has been covered before, but when he was asked about, Warcraft is so huge, why would you make just a movie instead of making a TV series, which would, better fit the whole universe, since it's just so massive. There's so many stories always going on. And he said, I want one of those too.
I honestly think they're going to do all right, because they know how to make a story. I mean, look at the StarCraft 2. They can make a good story run along. They just don't have to switch to gameplay. They just keep making the damn story go along.
But that's the thing. It's not those guys who's making the movie. I mean, some of them are overseeing, I know, especially there's some continuity people that thankfully are involved on the project. That always gives a lot of words. I'm moving my hands to help, and it's not working. Legitimizing? That's not it, but close enough. Authenticity. There it is.
Yep. Hopefully, I'm almost thankful that Blizzard will be reviewing it, and they see him going the wrong way, they're going to proceed to slap the holy shit out of the people making the movie and make them do it right.
They've already okayed the script, and I mean, it's already been shot, so they're already confident with what they've got. And that's the thing about a company like Blizzard, about their baby, World of Warcraft being their baby. They wouldn't do a movie if they didn't have faith in it.
Mm-hmm. That's why
because
they know it would damage. They wanted it.
Exactly, they know it would damage the brand, and they don't want that.
Because it's the same in movies as it is in video games. Mm-hmm. Make a good game, you'll be remembered for it. Make a bad game, you'll be remembered for it. And it sticks with you. You don't get rid of it.
Make a mediocre game, nobody's going to know who you are.
Make bigger truckers, and you'll be known forever as the worst game ever.
There you go.
You happen to accidentally make a bad game while making a good game, play it off like you did it on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So you can follow us at PrinnyCast on Twitter, and you can contact us with email at PrinnyCast@gmail.com. We will indeed be back with some game news. I don't know why I was saying that. I have never said that before, so let's just edit that out. Actually, this is the long extended versions now. I don't edit quite so much anymore, so oops. Anyway, yeah, there'll be game news. And expect politics. I'm sorry, it's going to happen. It'll probably be on next week's show, so brace yourselves, folks.
Stop being crazy so we don't have to do this. It's annoying.
That would help. And dialogue. We do not mind conversing with people of different opinions, and I'm going to make that very clear when I get to all of this, because it's way too easy to just take what a person says in a snippet and make their entire conversation off of that. So I want to make sure you know where I'm coming from these conversations before we get there. So that's going to be a good chunk of next week's show. But until then...
All three of you.
All three of me?
All three of you.
All three of you.
Talking to the viewers. I'm just kidding. It's a joke.
Oh.
Hi, Mom. We'll see you all.
See, at least you can say that.
Go ahead, Mike. You're the only one that hasn't said see ya.
Oh, are you waiting to see you
Yeah.
next time?